Attorney Jonathan Elson, reminding you that if you've been injured in an auto accident, it's important to have somebody on your side. When you need a lawyer,
then you need Nelson.
Nye County Sheriff deputies responded to a report of an injured dog. Upon their arrival to the location, deputies made contact with the owners of the dog. The owners stated to officers that they received a phone call from an unknown neighbor claiming that their dogs had been shot. When the owners of the dog responded to the neighbor's address, they discovered one of their dogs sitting by the front gate of the neighbor's residence, which was closed. The owners retrieved their dog and went back home, where they contacted 911. Officers noticed that the owner was grabbing onto a white dog and applying pressure to a gunshot wound to the dog's throat. The owners advised officers that they could not locate their second dog and believed it was still on the neighbor's property. Deputies then made contact with the neighbors, and in the process, they observed a significant amount of blood by the front gate. The neighbors reported to officers that the two dogs had arrived onto their property, acting aggressively. They stated that the two dogs were attempting to get into their chicken coop and were afraid they would get into the enclosure and kill their chickens. The woman neighbor stated that she and her husband attempted to scare the two dogs away but were unsuccessful. The woman then stated she and her husband allegedly went to their property's front gate and closed it to prevent the dogs from leaving their property. They said they made contact with NCSO dispatch to have animal control respond to the residents, but was told by NCSO that animal control was no longer working. The neighbors continued to add that the two dogs were still attempting to access their chicken coop, and added that one of the dogs began digging a hole to get into the enclosure but was not successful. The woman neighbor stated to officers that none of her chickens were injured. The neighbors then showed video evidence to the officers that they had previously recorded of the two dogs. According to the declaration of arrest, officers observed the two dogs attempting to access the chicken coop enclosure, but did not observe any vicious behavior in the video. One of the neighbors then stated to officers that they allegedly retrieved their .22 rifle and shot both dogs. The woman neighbor stated that both dogs had taken off. She said they located one of the deceased dogs and could not locate the second dog. The neighbors then placed the dead dog into their trash can next to the residence. The husband neighbor was later identified as David Hollis. Sheriff deputies took Hollis into custody and transported him to the Nye County Detention Center. David Hollis is being charged with unlawfully shooting and killing an animal and discharging a firearm where a person or persons might be endangered.